Alright, let's talk about a mystery that has it all. Strange creatures in the dark, unexplained livestock deaths, eyewitnesses who swear they saw something not of this world. This is the story of the Chupacabra, a name that sends a little shiver down your spine, isn't it? It literally means the goat sucker. For decades this cryptid has haunted the Americas, from the lush hills of Puerto Rico to the dusty back roads of Texas. People have claimed to see it, find its victims, and even capture its body. But what is it really? Is it a new species, a government experiment gone wrong, or something else entirely? The truth, as always, is out there, and we're going to dig in. The fascination with the Chupacabra isn't just about a scary monster, it's about our deep-seated need for answers when something truly bizarre happens. Imagine you're a farmer, and you wake up one morning to find your animals dead, but not in any way you recognize. Every great mystery has an origin story, a ground zero where the legend first took root. For the Chupacabra, that place is the beautiful island of Puerto Rico. The year was 1995. Reports started trickling in from small towns and rural farms about a wave of mysterious livestock deaths. Farmers were finding their animals, goats, sheep, chickens, dead under very strange circumstances. The animals were often found with peculiar puncture wounds, typically on the neck, and were said to have been drained of their blood, yet their bodies were otherwise uneaten. The island was gripped by a mixture of fear and intense curiosity. What could be doing this? Local newspapers and television stations jumped on the story, broadcasting the grim findings from farms in towns like Canovanas and Morovis. The term Chupacabra was coined by a Puerto Rican comedian, Silverio Perez, and it stuck immediately. It perfectly captured the gruesome nature of the attacks. Suddenly, the nameless dread had a name, and a legend was born. It was the perfect storm. Unexplained events, media attention, and a catchy, terrifying name. So, what did people actually claim to see back in those early days in Puerto Rico? The first and most influential eyewitness was a woman named Madeline Tolentino from the town of Canovanas. Her description would define the original Chupacabra for years to come. She described a creature that was truly alien. It stood on two legs like a person, but it was hunched over. It was about 3 to 4 feet tall with large, glowing red eyes that were deeply unsettling. It had grayish skin, powerful hind legs for jumping, and most distinctively, a row of sharp quills or spines running down its back. In fact, Tolentino herself later noted that the creature she saw bore a striking resemblance to the alien Syl from the 1995 film, Species. This has led many investigators to question if her memory was influenced by the film. Whether it was a real observation or a trick of the mind, her account became the blueprint. For the first few years of the legend, when people talked about the Chupacabra, this bipedal reptilian alien hybrid with glowing eyes was what they pictured. Just as the Chupacabra frenzy was peaking in Puerto Rico, the story made a leap across the water. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, reports of Chupacabra attacks began surfacing in other countries, including Mexico, Chile, and most notably, the United States. But something strange happened during this migration. The creature itself seemed to change its form completely. The bipedal, spiky-backed reptilian monster that haunted Puerto Rico was gone. In its place was a new culprit, a four-legged, hairless, canine-like animal. This was the birth of the Texas Chupacabra. This new version was described as looking like a dog or coyote, but with major differences. It was almost always completely hairless with tough, leathery skin that was often gray or bluish in color. Why the dramatic change? The answer likely lies in the local wildlife and environment. Puerto Rico has no native large predators like coyotes or wolves. In Texas and the American Southwest, however, coyotes, foxes, and wild dogs are common. When a strange-looking canine appears, it's easier to connect it to the existing Chupacabra legend than to invent a new monster from scratch. The name Chupacabra had become a powerful brand for any weird animal blamed for livestock deaths. With actual bodies to examine, scientists finally had a chance to solve at least part of the Chupacabra puzzle. Time and time again, the DNA analysis came back with a definitive, if somewhat less exciting, conclusion. These creatures weren't monsters. They were, in fact, well-known animals, almost always coyotes. So, if they were just coyotes, why did they look so terrifyingly different? The answer is a disease called sarcoptic mange. This is a nasty skin condition caused by a parasitic mite, Sarcoptes scabiei. The mites burrow into the animal's skin, causing intense itching, inflammation, and hair loss. In severe cases, the animal loses all of its fur, its skin becomes thick, wrinkled, and leathery. This also helps explain their behavior. An animal weakened by mange has trouble hunting its usual prey, like rabbits and deer. It becomes desperate and is more likely to attack easier targets like goats, chickens, or sheep on a farm. When a predator like a coyote bites its prey in the neck, it often punctures major blood vessels. The blood pools internally or seeps into the ground, and post-mortem coagulation can make it seem like the blood is gone. One of the most famous cases involves a rancher in Cuero, Texas named Phyllis Canyon. In 2007, she discovered several dead chickens on her property, followed by the discovery of a bizarre-looking carcass nearby. The animal was hairless, with grayish-blue skin and large fangs. Convinced she had found a real chupacabra, Canyon had the head preserved and sent tissue samples for analysis. The story gained international media attention, and for a while, it seemed like she might have the definitive proof. Initial DNA tests conducted at Texas State University determined that the creature was a coyote on its mother's side. However, the analysis of its mitochondrial DNA couldn't pinpoint the paternal lineage, leading to speculation that it could be a hybrid. Canyon and others promoted the idea that it was a coyote-Mexican wolf hybrid, a new type of animal. However, further, more comprehensive analysis by biologists at the University of California, Davis, eventually brought a more mundane conclusion. They determined that the creature was, genetically, a coyote. The strange appearance was attributed to genetic mutations, and almost certainly, a severe case of sarcoptic mange. This pattern has repeated itself in nearly every major investigation of a supposed chupacabra body. From the Elmendorf beast to other strange canids found across the Southwest, the trail almost always leads back to coyotes or dogs with mange. Let's pause for a moment and think about the name itself, Chupacabra, the goatsucker. It's visceral, memorable, and a little terrifying. The power of this name is arguably as important as any sighting or piece of evidence. It's the engine that has driven this legend for decades. Chupacabra gives the mystery a brand. It's a label that can be applied to any unexplained animal death or sighting of a weird-looking creature, creating a single, unified narrative. This name created a phenomenon known as a cultural template. Once the template of the Chupacabra was established, people began to fit their own local mysteries into it. The name became a catch-all for the weird and unexplained, connecting otherwise isolated incidents into a grand continent-spanning saga. The two different versions of the creature highlight this perfectly. In Puerto Rico, where the story began, the name was attached to a bipedal, alien-like creature. On the mainland, the same name was attached to a hairless, dog-like animal. The name Chupacabra is the glue that holds the entire contradictory legend together. It allows people from different regions with different local animals to all be part of the same monster story, proving that legends are living things that can change over time. So after all this, what is the shocking truth about the Chupacabra? Is it real? The answer, like the creature itself, seems to come in two parts. When we look at the mainland or Texas Chupacabra, the evidence points overwhelmingly toward a case of mistaken identity. The science is solid. The carcasses that have been found and tested are consistently identified as coyotes, dogs, or raccoons suffering from severe sarcoptic mange. In this case, the Chupacabra is fact. But the fact is that it's a known animal transformed by disease into something monstrous. But what about the original Puerto Rican Chupacabra? The spiky-backed bipedal creature with glowing red eyes? This is where things get murky. There is no physical evidence, no bodies, no bones, no hair, no DNA. All we have are the stories. Many researchers believe the original sightings were a product of mass hysteria fueled by media hype and possibly influenced by science fiction films. This leads us to the most likely conclusion: the Chupacabra is a piece of modern folklore. Ultimately, the question of whether the Chupacabra is real might be less important than the question of why we want it to be real. Legends like this tap into something fundamental about the human spirit, our unquenchable curiosity, and our fascination with the unknown. In a world that feels fully mapped and explained, the idea of real monsters hiding just beyond our sight is compelling. It reminds us the world might be bigger and stranger than we think, and the Chupacabra is a symbol of that possibility. They are a way for us to process our fears. A mangy coyote is just a sick animal, but a Chupacabra is a force of nature, a character in a much grander story. My journeys have taught me that every legend is a doorway, an invitation to explore and challenge our assumptions. Chasing these stories isn't just about finding a monster, it's about the adventure of the search itself, teaching us about history, culture, and our own need to believe. So the next time you hear a strange noise outside your window, or see something unidentifiable dart across a dark road, let your imagination wander. Is it just the wind? Is it just a fox? Or could it be something more? The legend of the Chupacabra encourages us to keep questioning and never lose our sense of wonder. As long as there are dark corners on the map, the hunt for monsters will continue. And that is an adventure worth having. The truth is out there, let's go find it. Find